What is up, alphas? Today we are joined with Mike from Valley Smithy, who's been in the alpha community. God, how long has it been? It feels like it's been forever that you've been around.
Quite a while. I'm
Yeah.
not really sure anymore. I've followed you on YouTube for quite a while and came into Handmade Alpha Academy a couple years ago, and it's been a journey.
Yeah, you've been around for a while. You're always in the community. I always see you on social media. In fact, of all of the alphas in terms of social media activity, I think that you are the most inspiring, especially on TikTok, which you have really spent a lot of time on, and you can tell because I believe you have more followers on TikTok than I do, because you have the cutest animals in the world. Do you want to share with the alphas what you sell? That way they can understand why there are animals on your TikTok.
Well, my TikTok could be a little confusing with the animals and with what I sell, but I'm a blacksmith. That's how I started out. Mostly horseshoes at this point. You know, we are rebranding my business in a sense. You have to understand that I was making a lot of colonial reproduction work, you know, working for Colonial Williamsburg, doing things for sale in their shops.
Oh, cool.
And other reenactors. Then that turned into flag holders, flower holders, yard implements, whatnots. And we traveled across the country, you know, doing demonstrations, reenactments. And that was fun, but fees, hotels, gas, it literally was bankrupting us. And it was just to the point where it was raining and we couldn't make any money. So my buddy sat me down and said, "It's time for you to open an Etsy shop." And I said, "I'm at the point of no return, make it go." So I called him my make it go guy. He sat down and opened it up. Well, we can't sell those large items and ship them. It's not really practical. So we honed in on selling our little horseshoes. And, you know, we customize them. They're a good luck symbol pretty much in about any culture all around the world. And we'll put your name in there. So I have my horses here in the farm. And, you know, I call them my horseshoe inspectors. So they will inspect your horseshoe, make sure that the quality is good on that before we will put them out in the mail to you. And recently we have added miniature cattle to our farm here. And that I bring back to, I often think of how you talk about being the purple cow, and HAA has allowed me to purchase the purple cow, the unique miniature cattle that we have here. So
That's awesome. And I think that you said that your TikTok is kind of confusing, but the horseshoes and the animals all together, I think that it all fits perfectly. I think that you're creating a lifestyle that somebody aspires to have, even if you had to kind of stray from what your original business was. That way you could adapt to being able to ship those products. I think that everything is very cohesive. And I'm immediately, when I go to your social media, I'm immediately curious about what you sell. And then I'm sure that just like everyone else, when they see what what you sell, they say, "Oh, okay, this makes a lot of sense, horseshoes." And then they can go and they can see the animals that inspired the work. So that's really, really cool. One thing that we hear a lot, especially from, you know, alphas who say that they're not super tech savvy, or maybe they're just, you know, kind of intimidated by social media. They're afraid to just jump in on platforms like TikTok because there is so many, you know, teenagers on there dancing and being silly, and they feel like that they don't have any value that they can bring to the platform. What's been your experience on TikTok, just because that's such a unique thing that you do for your business?
Well, that's a very good point. You know, I've often been made a lot of fun of for starting on TikTok. You know, I heard one of, you know, the influencers say that, you know, you should just get out there, and if you're not going to put any content out, just experience it, take it in, get a feel for what the platform is, whatever the platform is. Find your target audience, just like you teach. You know, so I did that for quite a while because, yeah, I was in that same boat. But here's the thing, you know, in 10 years, what are those younger people? Our customers.
Yeah.
So what are we trying to do? Build a business that is sustainable long term. Maybe building that relationship now is the thing that we can look at. And at the same time, more people are coming onto that platform, and it's really starting to explode now, so that would be my experience so far. It's continuing to change every day. When I say that my TikTok can be a little confusing, the algorithm, I see lots of changes in that. And it seems to be very niche oriented, things with the animals will do really well, but not so much with the blacksmith still. Sometimes I think that is the algorithm change, and that's where it gets confusing sometimes. But you just got to get out there. I think it's important to make the content and just not worry about it.
Absolutely.
Somebody that's looking for you, they'll find you. So,
yeah. And as soon as they start following you, that you're in the separate feed. There's their main feed where they see the viral content that TikTok is pushing to them. But then there's the secondary feed that's catered to them based on who they follow. And if 90% of what you create are the animals, and that's what draw people in, then the people who follow you will still get that 10% of the products. And they can't get away from that if they're following you. It's going to be in their follow feed. So right. I think that is still a really unique leverage point, even if you're in a hard niche where maybe there isn't as much of a market for your products in TikTok. You can still find people who are interested that exist within a larger pool where the animals are they're kind of the worm on the hook. And then once you catch the fish and you got the fish in the bucket, then they can see the rest of your content.
That's right.
Awesome. So what made you decide to join HAA? I know it's been quite a while since you joined.
Well, quite frankly, my make it go guy, my buddy Zach, he made things go, and I just, worried about making the product, shipping it out. And he moved away, and here I was. I had to, figure out how to list things, how to take the pictures. That was all the stuff he did. And he would always say to me, let me do some research, I'll figure it out. And I couldn't quite understand what he meant. And really what he was doing was YouTubing things. I didn't know that. And when he was 4 hours away and working ungodly hours, he wasn't available to me. So I had to figure out how to do research. I went through YouTube and lots of people, but you guys were one of the only people that, number one, I could connect with. It was like you were the same type of mindset that I am. And I understood what you were saying. And most importantly, on top of everything else, the stuff you were saying actually worked. And if the free stuff that you are saying actually is working and converting for me, what more is the paid version going to do? A lot. And that was the reason for joining.
That's awesome. And that's what we try. That's really what we tell people is I know we'll get new followers who will see the HAA is about to open and they're like, oh my God, I can't afford it. I need to take out a mortgage on my house. And I'm like, no. We have so much free stuff. Watch the free stuff first. And that'll help you to be able to make the money to afford HAA. You don't have to, go into debt for it. But right. I think that there's this evolution of educational online content where coaches want you to buy right now, blinking lights and timers. And it's just not a healthy sales mindset to have. So
it's a way to earn money, not a way to actually educate people to grow. Because it's not only growing our audience, it's also nurturing the audience and ensuring that they're succeeding and doing what they need to do so they can move on and do their best. So you're doing relatively well on Etsy. You had your businesses before Etsy. You said you were traveling, doing colonial America reproduction stuff and things like that. So what would you say so far that you think your proudest business accomplishment would be?
That is really specifically hard for me to answer because wow, I have to take a moment and kind of
No, you're fine.
It was buying the little cows.
Buying the little cows.
You know, yeah, I have to admit that was really, really a highlight. And we have a long ways to go there. You have to stop and understand the bigger picture. You know, I hesitated to even sign up for this interview because I feel I haven't completed my shop and goals, you know, the way I'd like to. Because I'm just so busy trying to keep up with the few listings and orders that I have.
Mike, everybody said that so far. Every single person we've interviewed has said that they haven't even finished the program because they've gotten too busy. And that's a good problem to have. I would rather interview that than somebody who has finished everything and has decided, oh, I'm done. You know, I am totally done, because you're never done, right?
That's right. That's right. You know, so I got that. You know, I am still working a full-time job on top of this, and we are working at building an organic farm here, you know, a small farm, mini farm, as I say, you know, which is where, you know, the history part comes in. I understand the Valley Smithy started with an interest in history. And on our farm here, you know, we originally had a blacksmith shop in the 1800s. An original colonial pottery did exist here. And, you know, we are going back to those ways, you know, much like Thomas Jefferson farmed and worked at Monticello. You know, we're actually following steps that he had in his farm books. So awesome. We're recreating history at the same time. And the plan is to have that natural, organic, chemical-free farm goods for sale as a secondary business to, you know, the metalwork. So there'll be the Valley Smithy brand that we're building. And then, you know, as I'm out demonstrating, everybody wanted to buy the Valley Smithy's tools. You can't just go buy blacksmith tools anymore. So that we ended up going into the tool making business. Now I'm shipping these tools across the country. And because of the famed television show, which I don't know if I can use their name without their permission, but I'm pretty sure. Okay. So everybody watches Forged in Fire, and they go online and they start buying my tools. And 3 days later, I get this email. How do I use this thing? You just spent $200-300 on a tool and you don't know how to use it? Well, now this leads me to a whole other thing that I got going is I'm trying to build a set, in a sense, that I can start to film and kind of produce some, you know, how-to videos and, you know, have an online type coaching, teaching.
That's awesome.
Things that'll go with it. So there'll be 3 separate businesses that I'm trying to build under the Valley Smithy brand. So we got a lot going. And when I say biggest accomplishment, that's a big thing. You know,
being able to expand. I mean,
yeah, being able to go to that level of expansion. You know, you've got a lot of people will create something and they'll say, oh, I make bracelets. I'm like, oh, cool. What's the reason behind them? Oh, because I know how to make them. And that's not, there's not a lot of passion behind I sell it because I already knew how to make it. What you are describing is a complete lifestyle brand that is in demand, that is growing in demand as we get more technologically advanced. Society is deciding to pull backwards a little bit.
Well, and the world gets a little bit hectic, and people start wanting to learn how to mend their own clothes and make their own tools, and they want to learn how to live off the land. You know, one of my favorite YouTube channels is Townsend's. They do cooking from 16th, 17th, 18th century, and they teach all the different techniques. So you're in a market now that not only you're able to sell the products that you make, you can also educate people to continue their adventures and their journeys, learning how people in the colonial era, which is probably the best time to learn from in history if you want to learn to live on your own. So yeah, you've got an ever expanding market right now, especially right now.
Yeah,
exactly. And Mr. Townsend is a really neat individual. I've had the honor of meeting him.
Oh, really? Yeah, he just came to Ohio to our brewery at Carillon Park. We have a brewery that has been running the same way since what year
it's
was
a long time.
Yeah, but their main job is keep their fires lit for actually brewing their beer, and they do it right there in front of you while you're eating. You can watch them brewing their beer.
And it's a much, much different beer than what you would get in a bottle.
It's very interesting.
It's good, though.
Absolutely.
That's very cool. So, I mean, a lot of the questions that we typically ask during these interviews are related to proudest accomplishments, but I think that this is so much better than being able to just narrow it down to one thing, because what you have created is truly unique. I can see so much opportunity here for content creation, for expanding. If TikTok is the thing that you find the most, joy doing, especially since you can do those little quick videos. But I see opportunity on YouTube. I see opportunity in the education department. If you ever decided to sell a course or a program on how to do what you're doing, just having all of that underneath that umbrella, because it's all cohesive. That's what matters most. You can brand it consistently, and you can keep it all, tight. So obviously your products aren't something that you toss together real quick. Like blacksmith work is not, it's not the same as
making something you can just pick up and do next day.
Yeah,
there's a lot of learning and effort involved.
It's not like making a duct tape wallet, So what does your work day look like, aside from the day job, obviously, when you actually are having a day dedicated to your business? What's that look like for you?
We get up. First thing we're doing is getting out here, tending to the animals, making sure they're all good and they haven't destroyed anything, disrespected surroundings. Then we'll get in here. I have, my little office shed here. I refer to it as the Bubbles shed. Kind of feel like Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys with my little shed here. So we'll get in, pull the orders. I'll go over to the shop, make the horseshoes. We do a series of photos. Everybody will get a photo proof of the shoe before I actually put the finish on it and ship it out, so that they can actually see. I would much rather make a correction before I ship it out, and the horses have to inspect it, so they'll get a picture of a horse inspecting it. And then we'll package them up, try to get those out, and whatever else may come up throughout the day, we'll try to work that in, feed the animals in the evening, and whatever I can squeeze in between, SEO wise, working on pictures, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's our typical day. 12, 14 hours, not uncommon.
That's awesome, though. You get out what you put in, and there obviously everybody's going to be able to put in different amounts of work depending on what they do. I know a lot of our audience, they're caregivers or they're parents, or they've got special needs children, and their time is going to be a lot different than others. But when it comes to your business, if you treat it like a job, then it starts paying you like a job.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've been through quite a bit with your businesses now, and you're expanding now. So if you could do it all over again, if you could start over from scratch, what's something that maybe you would do differently than you've done this time around?
That's $1 million question. What would I do differently?
This is the one that everybody has to think
about. It's a stumper. Just something maybe you would tell your past self to do differently or do better.
You can time travel and talk to Mike from, I don't know, 7 years ago.
It's a tough one, because number one, I want to say yes to everyone for everything. And that often causes me to have a lot of time restraints on everything I'm trying to do, puts me far behind. Anymore, I have to just say, no, this is the goal. I have to get this done. I'm sorry if I upset you. We have to hit our marks and get our goals done to be able to get ahead, or tread water, to say the least. Because falling behind is not an option anymore, not in today's world,
That's a good one, though. Because a lot of people feel guilty about having to, especially, you know, when family members and people who just don't understand your time constraints, or people who, you know, want things from your business. Hey, can you make me this? Can you do this? Can you? And it's like, I would love to, but time just won't allow it.
Even we get that constantly. We get probably 3 or 4 people a week that are asking for
shop critique.
Like we don't have time to do individual things. We 100% get that.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
Yeah, that one's really tough because it got to the point here where people were literally just stopping nonstop throughout the day, wanting to hang out, watch what we're doing, slowing things down. Then they get demanding. You will do this. You will do that. I had people crawling through my windows to see if projects were getting done. Oh yeah. You know, hey, you weren't here yesterday. I didn't think you were really working on my project. I don't think you're taking me seriously. I crawled through the window to look through your shop to see if things were getting done. Oh yeah, things got to that level.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I don't know if it's like that where you're at, but here
it ain't like that.
I was gonna say
that's a one-way trip to somewhere else.
on a property with you know, farm animals and livestock. If you come onto somebody's property, you're liable to get shot out.
Yeah, if you're anywhere other than the driveway,
right?
We have some severe issues like that still, and you know, we just kind of had to go with we have closed this business, we are online, and that's it, period, end of story.
Wow.
You know, and there's still people knocking on the door every so often. They just don't get that. I had one guy last week.
You need a big dog for the front porch. So now that we're towards the end, we've asked basically everybody that we've interviewed, if you were having a discussion with somebody who was thinking about joining HAA and maybe they were nervous about, you know, the time that it's going to take to get in there and go through the course, or the investment, because obviously it is an investment for your business, what would you tell them based on your experiences of the program?
I wouldn't be worried about it. And here's why. Because it's self-paced. You can go back to it anytime. You know, just last week, I went back and rewatched a module myself because I couldn't remember everything there was. And it was to do with eRank and searching out things. eRank's a wonderful tool. Love that thing. But the way you teach it, it's simple. You know, it's down to earth. I can comprehend it. You know, that's one of the things I love about your teaching style. But it's self-paced. You know, you can do it in 1 week, 1 day, or 1 year. You know, you own the product in the sense, so you can come back to it. Don't be worried about that. You know, I'm 2+ years out, you know, and I can go back to it. You're adding updates. You add freebies all the time. You can come back. Don't sweat it. You do this at your pace. That's the biggest thing that I would say. You know, it's not a race. How do you say this? We're not running a race. We're climbing the mountain together. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's one of those things where you're going to be able to retain more information if you take your time. But if you try to sprint through the entire thing, then you're going to miss a lot of the scenery along the way. And I think it's the scenery that makes all the difference for your business. Because if you're only doing the big steps, that's stuff you can Google. It's the little things that come from the experience and the psychology behind the brand that are going to make the big difference. But Mike, thanks for hanging out. Guys, I'll have all of his links down below, including his TikTok, so you can go check that out, because I know that's what the alphas are going to, they're going to hear TikTok and they're going to cling on to that thing.
We'll have all that stuff linked below.
So we'll put all the links down below. Guys, thanks for hanging out. Mike, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you in the next alpha interview.